Hello guys and welcome to the Makwanas Podcast. This is our second episode. My name is Nikita Makwana and sitting beside me is my husband and my co-host.
Makwana. Thank you so much for ushering us. Thank you so much for hosting us today. I'm looking forward to it. You know, during the practice, you have been pranking me all along. You said this is the second episode, and then I'll go on and say it's a prank, but right now, thank you so much for hosting us.
Yeah, it's on, it's in, we have started.
Yeah.
Wow. Where do I start? I always love starting with Thanksgiving, you know?
Yeah.
We shot, or should I say we posted our very first episode of the Makwanas Podcast a few days ago.
Yeah.
And the kind of response that we received, honestly speaking, is not what we expected.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And I just want to say thank you. We are so grateful for the support you've given us. And we thank you so much for those comments, for liking, for subscribing, for sharing. And you know, some people have been going into our DMs just to appreciate the work
Messages.
that we do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just mind-blowing, you know, just getting to recognize that what if we had not done it? What if we held it back? Because, you know, when you're doing something, God throws something in your head. And, you know, everybody, each and every one of us, you know, God is always dropping something in our minds. And sometimes we're like, oh, well, I'll do it some other time. The reason why I'm actually talking about this is because today we're going to touch on the element of decision making. I really want us to talk about decision making. Now, let us talk about the podcast and how it came about. To give you a short background, on that particular day, I had just come, I had just returned home from work, and it was around past 8, after 8, it was after 8 in the evening. Usually I knock off at 8 p.m. My last class, my last lecture is at 8. I mean, it finishes at 8. So I came home, and after I had a meal, you had prepared.
Yes, I prepared a meal.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just relaxing, and then we started having conversation like we always do.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, podcast, let us record this. I was a bit tired, honestly. And you have, before we got married, we've talked about having the podcast, right?
Yeah.
And this time around, we actually said we have to get things prepared, like getting the table, getting the chair, getting the microphones, etc.
The equipment
for the podcast.
Yes.
But on this past few weeks, you've been talking about the podcast. It has to be up. It has to be up. It has to be up.
Yeah.
And on that day, you stopped waiting.
Yeah. I didn't know that I had stopped waiting because even when I told you, okay, let's just test to see, we can use your pad, we can use my phone or your phone, and we realized this your beautiful phone here had really wonderful video. And then we said we shoot. Even when we were shooting, in my mind I knew that we had decided, decisions. We had decided that we are going to buy the whole equipment, or going to have the whole equipment, or use the producing guy from Gaborone to do the production. And so even when we sit down, just like, okay, we're just going to do an introduction and stuff like that. But we continue to have a conversation. In my mind, I was like, oh God, please, let her say we post this. And you said, oh, this is good. We're going to post it. So that's how it came about. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm really, really enjoying it. And I really, really love that. But before I go there, before I go into that, especially on the podcast, you said you like to start with Thanksgiving. And by the way, there's a favorite verse that we have, which is enter thy gates with Thanksgiving. So I was thinking of that, and I wanted to share that. You know, Thanksgiving gives room for more. It gives room for more divine, connection and also in encounters. So thank you so much for starting the show like that. But I'll let you to continue to share on the development and that to build up for the topic that we are having today on decisions and the power that decisions, possess just in our lives. Yes. And for me, when I'm thinking about that, honestly, I want to rope you in here to talk about something very crucial that you heard from one of your colleagues while you were still working with CIUB, right? And they were talking about the tithe of man, the tithe of man. I want us to start with that and take it from there, because I believe that with this, even when we discuss talking about decision, for me, that's what came to my mind. Anyone right now can go on YouTube and say, oh, decision making, that. But for me, when you talked about that, it liberated me in my work. It liberated me in my journey, in my career, and the things that I want to do in my life. So I want you to talk about that quotation that you heard, what it meant to you, for you, and what you think it can mean to someone who's joining us, this evening.
Wow, that's very interesting. I actually didn't think you're going to talk about this. I remember we had a conversation about it a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
So maybe just to touch on it. So there was one time when I was still working at UB, I was actually traveling. I was moving from the University of Botswana to now work at the Okavango Research Institute, the UB campus in Mau. So I was traveling with two of my directors, and I had a conversation with Professor Sibina. He was the director, the local director by that time. And while we were having a conversation, he started talking about this quote that I never heard of. He said there is a tide in the affairs of men. You know that from Shakespeare?
Yes.
I didn't Shakespeare's. I actually got it from him, Professor Sabino, when he was talking to me. He talked about seizing opportunities. And he was having this conversation with me about, opportunities, they are coming, they come like a wave, and you really have to seize the opportunities as they come. And I don't know if he knew how big that was for me. Okay, I don't know how to put it. Did he understand the doubts in my mind at that time? I was not sure if it's the right thing really to travel. Should I really go? Should I do this?
Transition.
Or should I not do it? And I was like, I kind of happen right in the midst of COVID. So is traveling really a good idea? And like in Gaborone, there is a lot of convenience. I can go to the hospital, maybe if something happens to me. But now I'm going to Maung, and I had never been to Maung by that time. And let me also highlight that I was at the very beginning of my career.
True.
Because my first professional job as a language or Chinese language instructor, that opportunity, I got it from the Confucius Institute at the University of Botswana. So I'm always indebted to Professor Pooh and the team. They were so amazing. Moms, they've been so amazing, and they gave me that opportunity. So to see them now trusting me to go to Maung to basically spearhead the project. And I was afraid when they told me, like, oh, you're going to go there. When the directors, they called me, and they started talking to me about going there to teach Chinese. It's a new environment. I'm at the beginning of my career. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do an excellent job. But here are people that I've worked with for only a couple of months, telling me to go to Maung. I knew that was a good opportunity for me. New environment, new everything. But at the same time, you're like, hey, man, would I really make it? And then when now he starts talking to me about this, he's communicating to me about the tide in the affairs of men. It's like he came at that time to clear doubts in my heart. He made me look at that beyond what it was, but to seize it as an opportunity or something that I'll need tomorrow in my life. And now when I look back, I'm so grateful to have had that conversation with him. And even when I was having challenges by that time at work, regardless, that word that he spoke to me over a short period of time, it was just a few minutes, really it kept me through the seasons. It kept me through the times. And there are times that were, even when I was there, I had to make some of the decisions while I was in my personal life.
Yep.
And I kept on thinking of the tide in the affairs of men that Professor 𝐍𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 had spoken to me about, seizing opportunities, as the wave comes, catching the waves, and understanding that opportunities come at different times, but there are those opportunities that when you miss, maybe you might never find.
Like you were saying, for me, the takeaway was from the conscious awareness that in every encounter, in every opportunity, in every thing that we go through in our lives and in our daily lives, these waves are happening every day.
Yeah.
The wave is moving every day. And we can sit around a certain surrounding where someone is sitting and they are crying and the next person is celebrating an opportunity that they have just gotten.
Yeah.
Someone crying on the way on the traffic, someone just lost their job.
Yeah.
You just got your job.
Absolutely.
And the consciousness of knowing that opportunities have a lifetime. How many times then, when it comes to that, do we really sit down and say, oh well, tomorrow, oh well, next week, oh well, the day after the next week? So I want us to talk about the awareness that we need to have as individuals, that every day there are waves that are moving in our lives, and it's up to you to decide already in advance that you know that every day and every moment present those opportunities, that every moment, even when you are not doing anything, there are waves that are passing by. And every day, what we do and what we wake up to think about, to write about, to plan about, sets us in certain lanes. It's like a rail station, the rail, sporo, ternite, and whatever sporo. And most of the time, when that train is coming, they move the thing to move it to the other side like that. To be conscious as human spiritual beings, that what we do every day sets us in a certain channel.
Absolutely.
A certain channel and a certain frequency of these waves, whether you break through or not. Very, very crucial, because I'm thinking by the time you were thinking of going to Maung, I will go there.
I didn't think we were going to talk about this, but it's
I was thinking that by the time you had hesitations of saying, should I go to Maung or not? This is the time where somewhere I was publishing someone's book.
Did I go in there? All right.
And this is a time where I will get an opportunity to travel there and meet you as an individual for the first time. So waves every day, frequencies every day are moving. And sometimes we are not mindful how that thing is setting us up. And sometimes you think it's just a thought. Let's talk about thoughts. You think it's just a thought that maybe I should just go to work, maybe today I should attend the event. There are certain things you don't have cravings for, but today you're like, maybe let me just go to the restaurant and have coffee. Not knowing that it's a tide, it's a moment for you to make a breakthrough. Let's talk about that awareness human beings have to have every day, because they are there whether we want to know it or not, but the awareness that tides are moving every day.
Wow. Honestly, I think if I didn't go to Maung, I wouldn't have met you.
You wouldn't be sitting here.
Don't put it like that. I don't think that if I didn't take that opportunity, probably we wouldn't be here together. And opportunities sometimes don't come like opportunities.
True.
They come as challenges. I mean, think about it. You are traveling somewhere. And you are traveling amidst COVID. And you are not even sure if you are the right person to travel there. Because you are thinking, hey, imagine me going there. What am I going to do? Am I really enough? But sometimes, even when you have doubts, it doesn't show. It doesn't show. And sometimes people trust you because you are good maybe at what you do. Or they just trust you because of the attitude that you have.
And the potential.
That you have. But do you see that yourself? Because sometimes you can be an enthusiastic person. and people see beyond the enthusiasm
True.
in you, and they give you opportunities, or they really try you. Let me say they try
they
you
give
to
you
see.
a chance.
They give you a chance
to
express yourself. So at that time, it didn't seem like the right maybe opportunity, because I was like, I thought that it came at the wrong time, and I was like, oh, okay. At the same time, I was like, maybe it should have happened before COVID.
We always have the right time in
We
our
always
lives.
have the right time
But sometimes
in
we
our
don't.
minds, yes.
It's just mystical.
Yeah.
Mystical right time.
Yeah. And I think, you know what happened when I was approached regarding this transfer.
Yeah.
I didn't respond to say yes or to say no. I just thought about it. I actually thought about it before, because I didn't think that it would be me who would be asked to go to Maun to teach Chinese there, the teaching center. But I thought about it, and then I said, God, why am I thinking about this? I'm just new here. I can't go on transfer already. But I just prayed about it. I said, hey, if that opportunity comes, but I know it won't come. But anyway, it might come. those kind of conversations
and self-sabotage at the same time. Yes.
And sometimes you don't even recognize that God drops thoughts in your head for a specific purpose. You know, sometimes where you feel like you're not deserving of something, but it keeps on coming to your head. That could be a sign that you are the right person for it, or you should actually give it a try.
True.
The second thing actually that I wanted to look at while we're still there is that when you have opportunities are different. And sometimes you can get this opportunity, not for this purpose, but for that purpose that is not in your mind. When I was going to Maui, I was not even thinking of meeting a man there. You know? I'll find a man to marry me in Maui. No, I didn't have those. I didn't have those thoughts. Because I was actually also in a healing process. I didn't think of starting a relationship. So I went there. And within the opportunity that I seized, when it came to me, I had another opportunity of meeting you at that time. And this, fast forward to this, you and me here. And when I was in Maung, it was a moment of refreshment for me. I had time to refresh, to be away from everything, just to start my life afresh. Because I had just actually returned from China. And I needed that adult lifestyle and to get my life together. And I feel like going to Maung had really given me the opportunity to do that. I didn't know a lot of people in Maung, so I was starting my life afresh, my career afresh. There was a focus. And actually, that's where I released my first song, where I established myself as an artist. As a recording artist. I established myself there as a business person. I started thinking about business when I was in Maung. Like, what kind of business can I do? I started first with the closet of selling things. I moved and started recognizing, okay, I know that I'm working here, but what is the future plan? What more can I do, on my free time? And that is how now I started looking for students to tutor in China. I've been tutoring students who are learning Chinese, who are taking Chinese as a preparatory course in Chinese universities, now using my basically the Chinese social media, the WeChat, etc., to look for people that I can tutor. It started when I was there,
And I want people to be mindful that one decision can lead to 25 million breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
And so the reason for us to take this time. And this is the proof. And the reason why we are taking this time today to talk about decision and sharing our own stories, we just want to show you the power of what you are hesitating on right now.
Absolutely.
What you are thinking about right now. And the mind has its own power to tell you what you can do. See the future. Look, this is what can happen. This is actually what can turn out in your marriage. This is what can turn out in your relationship. This is what can turn out in your job. But then, same thing, if you are not willing to jump on the tide, that tide of you can. Another wave is coming after that one. You can't.
Absolutely.
And so, if you are not, thank you so much. So, if you are not mindful of this moving wave every day, you will have the thoughts that you can, And then it's watched by the thought you can't. You can, you can't. Yes, no. So every day we are saying no and yes to ourselves. So be mindful right now, because as a professional coach,
I actually zoomed out.
I see, I work with individuals every day.
Yeah.
And as a coach, nothing that I do that has to push people than decisions.
Absolutely.
If someone said, Mr. Makwanas, I believe I can write a book. I work with one of our clients. She wrote a book in a month.
Yeah.
Powerful book. And after that, she said, no, I'm going to now work on myself. I want to expand my education. Yeah. She's now studying a certain course beyond on leadership and sports, right? These are decisions that shape our realities. But let me stick to the point. Every wave of you can do something, you can become something. There is another wave that you can't. It's like standing by the cliff, as expressed by Steve Harvey in his book, Jump.
Yeah.
He said sometimes you got to jump. Not because you are sure, not because all the money is there, not because all the support is there, not because all the equipment for the podcast is there, but because you know if you don't start, tomorrow someone will be doing that with their partner, with their loved ones, and you don't want to be like you're copying them because you missed the wave where you were supposed to start. So it's very, very crucial to tap into that awareness that it's not just a wave. As this wave is moving, newsflash, it's not moving for you alone.
Absolutely.
It's crossing and touching 20,000 other people.
Yeah.
You know, something shared by one of my brother, 𝐍𝐢𝐤𝐭 𝐇𝐸𝐤𝐿, shared something very powerful. He said, ideas come from God. But when these ideas are come, it's like a farmer, he scatters them. Those who pick and plant them, they reap the benefits. All of us, we receive visions and ideas from God.
Absolutely.
And now, as you are standing by the cliff today, this is what we want to get you through.
Yeah.
You got to jump even before you are ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to do it even before you are prepared.
Yeah.
I want you to take through us in that element of feeling I'm not ready. Besides your transition into your teaching, maybe just in your writing, in your song releasing, maybe in just a transition that we are making. You know, I remember the story you shared, even how you would go to China, even there you will start to see what people are singing and you just learn the songs and you are willing to do the performance. All those things are to show it's not about being ready to decide, but decisions put you in a place to move. Yeah. I remember even sometime we're sitting on the same table, having conversation, saying we love each other. We care about each other. We have seen each other. There is no excuse. We've seen our loops and ends. We've seen our positives and negatives. If we are making a decision to be together, we can make now. Or we can continue pretending that we are still getting to know each other. And it pushed us to a point where we sat down and we discussed, we got to set the date. We have to set the date.
And we did, and we are here.
And we did, and we are here. But what was it comfortable? Was everything in place? Was everything in place? Was everyone up and cheering?
No. Really.
So let's talk about the pain of making a decision that will separate you for a lifetime.
Wow. The way you put it, I have to.
You have to top it up.
Yes. One of the things that I recognize is that, like I said, ideas, thoughts are from God. And, you know, God has given each and every one of us a sound mind. That's what the Word of God says. And when the ideas come, what happens is you first look at yourself. Am I ready? Do I have what it takes to make this decision? And what you're going to see is what you don't have. You are going to see what disqualifies you for opportunities. That's what your mind is going to see first. You are going to see look at your age and say, hey, at my age, would I make it? People who are doing this 15, 20 or 30 years older than me, you're going to look at those things. However, God always brings helpers along the way. And when I mean helpers here, I don't think about money. The kind of helpers that God gives you, especially when you're about to decide, are people who sees beyond what you see. For example, in what we were looking at, the example I was giving regarding the transition that I was making as a professional and having to move from Gaborone to Maun, God put people in my life, mentors, supervisors, and specifically for this course, I had Professor Zibina who said, Nikita, you can do this. I had Professor Pooh who said, Nikita, you can do this. By that time, I had Mahaiti Sipemos, Nikita, you can do this. I had Mala Osho say, Nikita, you can do this. You know, when there are people, honestly speaking, every time you do something, God is sending you help.
A sign.
It's sending you a sign. Even for people who say, oh, you know, when I started, maybe I tried this product and a million people rejected me. The truth of the matter is there is somebody who is whispering there. People can give you a count of the people who didn't support them, but they can't give you the count of people who supported them.
One person.
The one person who did, they cannot. They were just like, you know, when I started this, when I was doing this, people didn't support me. That voice is always amplified anyway. People are very good at counting things that are not going okay. And I feel like that's just the world we live in supports that. And even when you are thinking that without recognizing that's how your mind is wired.
Programmed.
So there are always people who are going to say, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Please find a way of recognizing those people and recognizing that sometimes you don't get the courage or the encouragement from people that you hope can give you that courage. You end up getting it from maybe the people that you don't expect they'll give it to you. At the end of the day, it's still courage. And it is still support, and learn to count it. So I think that is
it's very important. I think you take it from a point where, as we are driving towards the conclusion, you know, something that we talked about, I think some 3 days ago, the power to sit down and know that sometimes, and most of the times, people in your vicinity and surrounding don't get it. And for the fact that you are there as the light, a city built on a mountain cannot be hidden. You are the light of the world, salt of this world, right? And at that particular moment, in your job, in your relationship, in your marriage, in your family, there are certain thoughts that God put in your head that does not seem to align to the environment you are in. And sometimes you say, okay, I have these thoughts. I want to write my book. I want to start my business. I want to leave my job. Like I said, when I was some years ago, I decided this is not what I want to be in. I want to do my own thing, right? And I left my job. In the midst where people are saying there are no jobs. Because sometimes when you walk with what people around you see, you end up keeping a blind eye to what your destiny is about.
Absolutely.
And so here's the hurtful part. Even when you decide that this is the idea that I have for my life and for my family, there are people who have the energy to come and try to talk you out.
Talking you out of
to come and sabotage, to come and block ways, to become the invincible gatekeepers who stand against you and what you envision to do, even if it means that it's going to liberate them. So I just want us in the summary of this to talk about faith, self-belief, and preparing a powerful internal world in yourself to know that even though it's a beautiful idea, no one is just going to say, oh, you care about street kids, we love you, we have clothes. Even people with clothes they don't use, they will even say, well, I don't know what people are trying to do. People who can give you those clothes to donate. So no matter how good of intention that what you are deciding on is about, sometimes even your loved one, your husband, your wife can be the blocker because they can't see what you see. Let's talk about that invincible battle that individuals will go through, or some are going through, some are heading into. that they are going to go through to convince themselves that this is the right thing that I have to do.
Yeah.
What internal battle should people prepare for in making decisions that are going to liberate them? Because it's not going to be a walk in the
so
park.
To say you have to decide, you should make decisions. It's not easy. I agree with you. One of the things that really helps me to decide, to make the right decisions for my life is not talking about what I want to do with everyone, because as someone,
number one, not talking.
Yeah, not talking to everyone. There are people that you can talk to, but first of all, you should tell God what you want to do.
Yeah.
And listen to yourself. You are listening to yourself. And is this what I really want to do? Even if you have doubts, I don't vocalize the doubts because I know that once I start saying them, they're going to become alive, and I'm going to start seeing the negative part of things.
Yeah.
So, most of the time, actually, when you talk to people, most of us, when we talk to people, we want them to confirm if we are thinking right thoughts.
We're looking for confirmation.
We are looking for confirmation. How can somebody confirm a thought, an idea, a dream that God didn't put in their head? You're going for counsel to this person and to basically to tell you what God has already told you. And when they say the opposite, you're going to say, oh, I talked to people and said it can't be done. I mean, now when you are successful,
you feel like, yes.
This story is like, people were trying to sabotage me, not knowing that the way
they didn't see it.
They didn't see it
the way that
absolutely. It wasn't for them. So remember that ideas are given by God, and ideas are given to you specifically at that time. God is giving you the idea. And one of the mistakes that you can make is trying to ask people if it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about counsel. I'll come to counsel because one thing that I know and one thing that I've learned is that before you do anything, a wise person seeks for counsel.
Yeah, true. Before
you make decisions. So don't tell people about what you want to do until you have established it in your heart that this is something that I really, really want to do.
Incubation.
Okay? You incubate your thought. You take care of your thought. You sit on top of it to make sure that it becomes warm. You get my point? It becomes like you cook it from there, and then that's when you can start talking about it. And then another thing that you can do is to talk about it to yourself. Like repeating it to yourself, like, I want to do this. Hey, I'm feeling scared, but I know that I'm going to make it. God is going to help me through it.
Yeah.
That is you declaring that something is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you, I can't say convincing yourself, but reassuring yourself that something can be done.
Yeah.
Find case studies of people who have made it in something that you want to do in life.
Success leaves proof.
Success leaves proof. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So find stories of, somebody has done these things or this particular thing, and I can do it also. Because one of the things that I know is that when you ask people or for advice, remember the first point that I said?
Yeah.
They're going to give you a case study of people who failed. Like, hey,
because they care for you, they love you so much.
Yes.
They don't want you to get hurt.
Yes.
Like someone they have seen.
Absolutely. And they have a case study of who failed, how many people, and they give you examples.
Yeah.
And people, they always know somebody who failed, So when they think like, you know what? And you know how somebody plants doubt in your heart?
Yeah.
They say, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to be honest.
To be sincere with you.
Can I be sincere with
the
you?
Sincerity can bring doubts.
It does.
And like you just said, by the way, there are things that people tell you, not because they jealous you, not because they want to sabotage you, because they don't want you to put yourself in danger.
Yeah.
And this thing is not done by the people you don't know. Even your family members, sometimes when you tell them, hey, I want to do this, and it's a result of love.
I remember some time ago when I was working my 9 to 5, everything going well. And there was a point where I decided that this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I've tested what I wanted to do, but this is not what I want to do. I was performing very well, coming up very well.
Yeah.
And I remember by the time I was thinking that, the company was also thinking of retrenching people. And so when people were receiving letters to go home, I went to my manager's office, said, no, we can't let you go. You know, we can't let you go. I laughed. Because by that moment, that's when I had written my resignation letter.
Yeah.
So when I was sitting and looking at people crying and how they want to stay,
yeah.
and for me looking at the cry that I want to leave, you know, at the same environment, there are people who are begging to stay. Some want to leave.
Yeah.
And what separates everyone, what sets people into their way, into their elevation, into their greatness, is the ability to stick to your decision no matter the surroundings around you. To be able to go forth to a point where people cannot argue with you because results speak for themselves.
Absolutely.
Greatness, success speak for itself. I normally say the statement that you cannot fake growth. So there are points where even when you are seemingly seeing the small results of the success you decided on, that maybe people, they knew, they said, no, you don't do that, or some, they didn't want to come on board with you, they will still doubt, but you still keep to your own decision. You still keep to your own ideas. Because at the end of the day, what makes you is the decisions you are willing to take in the midst of adversity and opposition. Because at the end of the day, we are the results of our decisions. Absolutely. One gentleman said a very powerful statement in our conclusion. He said, we make decisions and sooner or later, they make us. So be mindful today, every decision that you are making, whatever you are faced with to do, the intentionality to know this can be a setup for the next opportunity.
Yes.
This can be a setup for the next breakthrough. This can be a setup for the next level of grace.
Absolutely.
Be mindful about that. Yes.
Absolutely. And there is also something that I said here that I just feel in my spirit I should talk a little bit on it. I spoke about don't tell people what you want to do. I'm not saying that there are people that you can talk to, for example.
Conducive environment.
Conducive environment.
Yeah.
If you are making a decision, let me say you want to get married.
Yeah.
There are people that you should talk to, you understand, relevant people. The key word is don't talk to everybody about it. But as for relevant people, people who can give you advice, expert advice, a parent really guiding you through what you need to do. Yeah. For example, we decided to get married. Yeah. We didn't just decide to get married. We had to see a counselor. Yeah. Bishop Noah was there. He had to take us through the counseling of what to do, and the churches. Yes,
our church.
We had the counsel from
Pastor
our
H,
churches. Pastor H was taking us through the process and what to do. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Good decisions needs counseling. Needs the right incubation. The right incubation. And you have to get the counseling from the right people. Yes. Remember how we're having maybe some struggles, we didn't know how to do some things, and we call Pastor Munei from Kenya, like, Pastor Munei, we're going through 1, 2, 3. How do we go about that? Yeah. And then she tells us, okay, this is what you can do. And you actually find out that
it was not a fuss.
It was
nothing.
It was nothing. And actually the way, you know what? When you are speaking to an expert, if you want to know that you are talking to the right person, when you're talking to the right person, they are going to bring calmness in your life, peace. You're going to feel that. But if you're going to talk to somebody who is equally scared, like you are, or even worse than you, you know, they're going to
fuel the fire and the confusion.
They fuel the fear, they fuel the confusion, they fuel the hesitation to make the decision.
And you can't blame them. And that's how they're currently the state they are at.
Exactly. Okay, so find the right people to advise you. Read the right books, you know, on decision making. Yeah. If you want to make a decision on how to improve your academics, read material on how to improve your academics. Don't ask your friend who is failing. They're going to give you methods of how to fail. Yeah. And one of the methods is just to be afraid of the examination, you know. So seek advice from relevant people. I think that alone is a point.
It is.
For you not to be afraid of making decisions, number one, seek the right counsel. Because counsel gives you confidence. You become confident in what you know, in what you want to decide on. Yeah. So I thought that I should touch on that one before we call it a wrap.
Okay. No, thank you so much. I think you have shared a lot. And one thing for me that I would remember and always remember is a takeaway from there is a tide in the affairs of man.
Absolutely. Professor Peter Sabina.
Yes.
I actually have to thank them so much for sending me to now.
Yes.
Yes, to thank the whole department. Thank you for sending me to now because
Crazy.
that's where I met my husband. So I'm grateful.
I'm
really grateful for that.
I'm really happy for that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for going to Mau. So the decisions we make, they set up for our future.
Yeah.
I believe, and we believe as we use this platform as our ministering, is that God has decisions awaiting for you.
Yeah.
God has the beautiful life ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Your future is inside of you. Your decisions is a thread that removes these pieces one by one every day. We know the cravings that are leading to our distractions. We know that are directing us to the steps where God is calling us to be. And it's not going to be a walk in the park.
Absolutely.
All we can say is we are praying with you. We are believing with you. We encourage you even to seek more on your spirituality, to seek more on God for that counsel. There are certain things that I thought will take forever. For me, in my mind, when I met this lady, I was thinking maybe 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, we'll do this. But God knows when. And once we submit to Him and we allow Him to when we allow Him to lead us and guide us, He will surely direct you to where you must be. Your destiny is in God. Nowhere else. Your destiny is in God. Relying on Him, establishing you to make decisions that can transform your life. So thank you so much for joining us. This is the Makwanas episode 2. We are so grateful. I don't know if you have the last words to share.
It's just to thank everybody for coming and for joining us. I also want to thank you for having these discussions with me, and you know you're so random. You'll be bringing a conversation on a topic that I didn't expect to talk about, and I think that we didn't talk about most of the things we wanted to talk about.
True.
We touched on things like real life situations, and it is great. It is great.
So
we thank God. We thank God for your lives, for each and every one of you, and thank you for tuning in. Listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. Remember, in this podcast, we are sharing our ideas. We are sharing our personal stories. Basically, this is us. This is our journey, and thank you for listening to us. We appreciate it. See you in the next episode.
Make sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment what you learned, and also check our Facebook pages there as well. The Makwanas. Also check us on TikTok. The Makwanas. We are looking forward to having more discussions and even having interaction in the physical form, in the physical meetings. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great night. Thank you.
See you on the third podcast. It's a bye.